The Magic Riddle is an atrocious movie in my opinion. Here's why. 1. The pacing of the film drags way too long and it can get boring very quickly. 2. The movie starts out with Grandma giving a narration at the beginning of this movie which makes absolutely no sense. Why Grandma is narrating this at all, because she narrates the beginning but they never go along with the narration aspect throughout the movie. 3. False advertising. Cindy's horse has yellow fur along with 2 pigs, but in the actual movie, the horse has grey fur and there's an extra 3rd pig. 4. The animation is less than favorable to look at, constantly looking like it was made in haste with the character designs and is very flatly colored. 5. The plot is confusingly messy and feels very overstretched, complete with plot strands that either feels underdeveloped or pointless. 6. Poor grasp of the source material. Some of the fairy tales being shown are either mostly feel underused at times or aren't handled properly at all. 7. Misleading title. The riddle itself isn't magical whatsoever, and moreover it's not even a riddle at all, it's just simple information. 8. The film has so many unexplained questions that were never answered or plot holes that were never filled in properly, leaving many of its audience feeling confused. 9. The slapstick humor that the film tries to imitate isn't that funny, as it mostly falls flat and boring most of the time. 10. The love and relationship between Philip and Cindy don't seem very genuine, as it feels forced while having a lack of chemistry. 11. Bad moral. The film's message, which is that you should only marry someone if it means that you can get a bunch of stuff that you didn't even want, is a terribly loathsome advice. 12. Ugly character designs, with the widow and Pinocchio being the absolute worst offenders. 13. The widow's 3 main disguises look so cheaply made and crappy. She makes the master of disguise himself can pull it off better. 14. There are a dozen of inappropriate moments within the movie. 15. Similar to Quest for Camelot, the movie itself is one of the many unoriginal Disney rip-offs that tried to cash in on the Disney Renaissance at the time. 16. Speaking of Disney, the movie feels like it's stealing elements from a few Disney properties here and there. 17. There are tons of animation errors that are easy to spot throughout the movie, due to the animators not tracing a line on Pinocchio's neck. Whenever he twists his head he looks like he is possessed. There are moments where the animation is clipping out. 18. There's a number of continuity errors too. After when Cindy falls into a death-like sleep, she's lying in a position that's radically different from we last saw her. When Pinocchio gives his shoes to Cindy and her losing the other one at the widow's house, he somehow managed to get his other shoe back in the very next scene without any explanation how he got it back. 19. There are also other errors too, including recycled characters, poor lip syncing, perspective errors, and even lazy sound editing. 20. Forgettable soundtrack with some having minor problems, including Try Not to Cry So is a hypocritical song about Cindy being an ugly duckling and wondering when she'll turn into a swan, when in reality she's a beautiful young woman in contrast to her ugly old hag of a stepmother. Mean while a catchy tune is a poorly written song for a villain. Pig Song is pretty much just a lazy retelling of the Three Little Pigs story, as well as it also pads out the movie's running time too. 21. All of the characters have some form of one-dimensional trope, with the exception of Eartha, Cindy who's the damsel trope, Philippe being the heroic prince trope, the widow being the villain trope, and the list just keeps on coming. 22. Stupidly written crappy dialogue. 23. Just like with The Magic Voyage, it contains scenes that have very unnecessary loud noises. 24. There's this weird time skip within the film. It starts out what looks like during the springtime, then it quickly turns into winter and then back into spring again. 25. It's kind of hard to tell exactly when this movie is supposed to take place. You may think it takes place somewhere what looks like to be 19th century Europe, but it doesn't, because it has some modern day influences, which just makes it even more confusing. 26. The animal sidekicks don't serve any point of purpose and feel like they were shoehorned into the film's plot at the last minute. And 27. In the original concept trailer, Cindy actually stands up to her stepmother by refusing to do her chores, and decides to run away for a better life on her own accord, growing an independent and rebellious attitude. A scene in the concept trailer shows that she is facing a challenge she must escape on her own. As a result, her happily ever after is much more deserved and earned, as she contributed something then. However, this was only the concept trailer, as the final movie would cut those scenes out for whatever reason. Cindy, as a result of this change, would revert back to her one-dimensional personality of being a damsel in distress, and everyone would forever be beyond comprehension as to why they didn't stick to the original formula. End of review. Rant.